minutes before 7 here on this Tuesday morning. It's so lovely to have you with us. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk water. Now, the Water and Sanitation Department has commenced with the issuing of notices to at least 30 defaulting municipalities, notifying them of its decision to terminate bulk water supply. The municipalities have until the 8th of December to settle their bills amounting to over 10 billion rand. To get more details on this, let's talk to Water and Sanitation spokesperson, that's Sputnik Ratau. Sputnik, always good to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks and good morning.
Yeah, good morning. All right, when we talk about the termination of bulk water supply, in a nutshell, is that saying you're going to cut off water to these municipalities?
Well, it's either of two things. We could reduce the pressure that allows sufficient water to be able to be pumped through all the time, or we could cut off the water altogether. So it's either of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that this is not a decision that gets taken lightly because, you know, not having access to water is it's a very desperate thing. But I know that the minister saying this yesterday was implementing Section 59 of the Water and Sanitation Act. Talk to us a little bit more about how this decision has been reached.
Well, Leanne, this debt has got a history. It's debt that has been accumulating over time. And there are a number of processes that we've engaged in with the municipalities and so on to try and recover this debt, because it is part of what we need to do, or rather to use, in order to be able to operate as an ongoing organization, as well as our water boards, by the way, because the 10.7 billion rand is owed to both the department and the water boards, with the bulk of about 2/3 of that money being owed to the water boards. So there are a number of processes that we followed in terms of the Intergovernmental Relations Act. We were able to talk to these municipalities. We have had, you know, an example of where we have had some sort of success with OR Tambo, where we have agreed on a payment plan, and they are keeping to that payment plan, and therefore that is what we are hoping that we could be able to get to. But we've also gone through the legal processes, you know, in terms of debt recovery as well as other means, and we've got some judgments, we've got some other legal issues that are still out there. We do have also, by the way, disputes. Where, you know, the municipality would say, no, but I don't believe that, you know, that is my... And those are ongoing discussions. But what we are saying is, based on the fact that the Municipal Finance Management Act dictates that municipalities must pay for their bulk services within 30 or 60 days of their receiving an invoice or a statement, that is where we are starting from.
So, I mean, viewers at home have been seeing their district municipality, they've been seeing the areas that are affected by something like this. If in fact it does come, you have given, or your department has given, these municipalities and these districts up until the 8th of December to settle these bills or face throttling or cutting off. Is that it in black and white?
What we are saying is, let's deal with the current account.
Okay.
If we deal with the 30-day or 60-day account immediately, and then negotiate the historical debt, then we can. It's a place to start.
So then that's a starting point.
It's a starting point.
What happens to people? I mean, for instance, if you live in one of those municipalities and you pay your bills religiously every day, I'm paying my. Oh, not every day, every month. I'm up to date, and then suddenly my water gets cut off. I mean, it's not fair. I understand what you are saying, but you know, are you taking the individuals into account?
Yes, that's why you are correct when you say that it's not a decision that came very easily. But obviously we had to get to a certain point, because for us, if we are not able to get this money, we will not be able to continue with development of new infrastructure. We will not be able to continue with the operations and maintenance of our own infrastructure, which is critical for us to be able to deliver those services to the very municipalities. We will not be able to look at pollution control and water quality issues and so on. That is just from our own point of view. But the water boards will not also be able to operate optimally. And so all of those things imply that we had to do something. And because we've been going through processes and people come to the party, we agree on something, but then they go out and default. And then we had to start saying, what is it that we do? By the way, in between this as well, we are looking at going on with engagements with National Treasury as well as COGTA, and hoping that we'll have SALGA coming to the party as well, because as the overall body that is looking after these municipalities, they've got to play a role. And therefore we are looking at, let us get to some agreement. And let us keep to that agreement, because it's not just about coming to an agreement, but it is also keeping your word in terms of what you are agreed upon.
When we look at those municipalities that are the worst in terms of debt and not paying, I can see that it's Majabeng local municipality in the Free State. They owe 1.8 billion rand in unpaid bills, and that is a problem, followed by the Bembe district municipality in Limpopo, which owes 642 million. How does it get to a situation like this? I mean, again, I ask you, well, I haven't asked you this question, but where are we seeing the faults coming? Is it in the leadership of the local municipalities? Is it in irregular expenditure? Is it in the fault of collecting the fees? Where do you believe the fault lies?
It's a combination of factors, but obviously capacity is one of the major issues, where you'd find that the municipality does receive the money from the fiscus, but may not be able to spend according to what they are supposed to do, and maybe not even in keeping with the IDP that they have agreed upon. That's the one thing. The second thing might be that some of the other municipalities, it could be that they do not have a big enough tax base or revenue base to be able to do some of these things. But the fact of the matter is that they do get the grants from National Treasury, from COGTA, that are supposed to say to them, by the way, according to the Act, that they need to look at entertaining the bulk services first before they do anything else. But whether they actually do that or they divert the money to other things, that's a discussion that is still to be had. And in instances, there is a possibility of that.
If you do get to a situation where you are going to be cutting off these local municipalities, these ones that we're seeing, and the debt is there, and residents are living and depending on this water, will you assist in any way? Will you be helping, or are you almost throwing up your hands and saying, look, until you pay your bill, we are not helping you?
The truth of the matter is that the difficulty that we've come to in the main has been because we've actually gotten into areas where we should not have. For instance, the issue of the drought has hit us very much because we've had to assist a lot of municipalities. But part of the difficulty, Leanne, is that we also have an issue that we have to deal with in terms of the Auditor General's report, which says, by the way, if you do not do your collections properly, you are not going to be able to be a viable ongoing entity in your water trading entity unit. And that is where the major problem lies, because this monies that the municipality have got to pay must go into the WTE, which then facilitates the work that the department does.
So, okay, Sputnik, I have to wrap this interview. I know we could carry on, but we will get you in again, hopefully in that week, to find out, you know, any updates and which municipalities have paid the debt, and just to keep the viewers up to date. One last question that I need to pose to you is, I mean, this was just a personal thing. I mean, I was driving yesterday, and we know that's the Santon area, that whole area. I mean, there was a big water pipe burstage, and there was huge problems, and some people hadn't been without water about 4 or 5 days. And I drove past this yesterday, which was, have a look at the screen, Sputnik. I mean, this was a sight that I don't think anybody wants to see. I had been at the same venue on Sunday. I went again yesterday. This had been gushing for 48 hours, and nobody had bothered to come to switch it off. I mean, literally with a spanner. I think that's all you needed to just close that. You know, and this is just one example. I'm sure there's so many of them. Why are we not attending to these things as fast as possible when you're talking about how dire the situation is with water?
The issue of water saving is a serious issue, and it starts with that. And capacity to be able to respond timeously and with the best amount of capacity at any one point is where things are. And for the best part of time, you find in a lot of municipalities capacity to just be able to do the things that must be gotten off the ground first time and do them right. That is where we're having a problem. Never mind the fact that we must go and encourage other, the community to save water. But
And then you see
we within the sector have got to do much better than that.
Please, Sputnik, and that's my. I mean, you're asking people to pay. I'm asking you to ensure that that's the simplest thing that you can do. You get a report, you get out there and you fix it automatically. But let's just keep an eye and be vigilant when it comes to these kind of things. But we will invite Sputnik again into studio, hopefully next week, so we can get an update on those municipalities, if they have paid their outstanding debt and whether or not they face the risk of being cut off. Sputnik Ratau is from the Department of Water and Sanitation. Let's take a break.